Stay on the beach, the place to be. All the tips and ways to make the first.
The senior here is like so freaking amazing. It's the best ever. So today I want to talk to you about EAT. So basically, let's do it like grown-ups. Let's not just talk about it, but let's share some knowledge about EAT. So I went to more than this, so probably this is 4 or 5 conferences. I've talked to multiple people, and I talked to them about EAT, and there are 3 hard truths that I've learned about it. Everybody speaks about EAT. On the conferences, every other talk is about EAT, but since I'm a speaker and also I can participate in these talks, I often ask the question, how do you measure that? And I normally get one answer. We don't. So then I ask a follow-up question to help them out, right? So let's assume you have one piece of content, and then you update the content. How do you know which one is better? And they say, we know it. Well, based on what? Intuition. And this is the hard thing. Actually, nobody knows what is EAT. They try to say that they're doing EAT, but they actually don't know what to look for. And most of the websites right now are bleeding traffic. So if you go to your Google Search Console, if you have an agency, you can see that they're like basically dropping. Big brands are taking over. And the only thing that I think you should go after, of course, you can build your brand, but that takes time. You can focus on EAT. And the easiest thing is to focus on content update because you already had the traffic. So since you have it, Google thinks that you probably were good at it, but you have to increase EAT. But most of the content updates are random, they're gut-driven, and they're just ignored. There are a couple of tools on the market that show you this grader that basically goes up when you optimize the article. But the problem there is that they're focused on keyword stuffing. The only thing that they track is like how many keywords you will put in. Is it EAT? Unfortunately, not. Fake EAT doesn't work. So if you're thinking that you can fake it, it will not definitely work. But AI can help you out with making EAT and showing it to people. There is an EAT illusion that all of us have because we want to track it, so we use our opinion on the thing, and we're trying to evaluate if it's working or not. So the first thing is experience. If you think only that adding in my 15 years of experience had this and this is not experience. Or expertise. If you think that just pushing in a couple of certifications here and there, some of them fake, some of them real, will change anything in that, also, it will not work. Authoritativeness. Dropping a Wikipedia link here and like dropping another Forbes link there, this is not it. Trust, adding just a bio, and this is something that I've heard a lot. You need to add the bio at the end of your article. That is a trust signal. Yes, it is somehow, but it will not work. And the thing that I already said, that in my experience, this is something that I feel works better. Again, we're not measuring. Estella had like really a great presentation here, so like nice work about Core Web Vitals, how we measure it. So we have some kind of data that we want to see if we're heading this way. That shows us if the process that we're taking makes sense. Why do we track Core Web Vitals and we are able to measure it, and we're not tracking the value to the end user, which is one of the most important things. So how to score EAT using LLMs? They can help you out to do it fast. They can make it consistent. It can be predictable. And they're, first of all, unbiased. We as humans are biased. Like we can't predict it because we will always justify the hell out of everything that we do. This is how we work. That's normal. I also do it. So the best way to do it, in my opinion, is to score EAT on a scale of 1 to 10, every single factor. And we can use it something that I call critique stage. Memorize critique stage because you can use it with anything else, not only AT, and that's like a gold mine of things that you can get from AI. So how it works. First of all, you will get these slides. So if it's not visible, like you will get it from SEO on the beach. You have to calibrate it. You have to take the time to define what is a 1, what is a 10. You have to give it to AI to calibrate it, to give you an answer that will help you out. The cool thing is that you can even follow up with a question, why did you score it this way, and get a lot more information. You can then ask a follow-up question, how to improve it. So AI not only will score it, it will tell you like why the score is like that, and it will tell you what to do to improve it. So this is a sample prompt where we start with defining the role, like who AI is, instructions, like what it should do, and then giving an example of exactly what is my calibration table, how it looks like to get the predictable results to do it. The follow-up thing that you can do, you can ask AI to say like, okay, looking at my article, like you scored it at this point with this data, what are the 2 to 3 strengths that you see in my article, which shows me exactly what is the key part of the article, what are the weaknesses of my article, what are the action steps that I should take to make my article better in sense of EAT. An additional thing that you can do, you can use Perplexity, and you can ask AI, like inside, let's say, ChatGPT, Claude, whatever you're using, can you define me what kind of data would make my article better, and then go to Perplexity and just take it. Of course, link to the source. Like, I'm not saying take it in sense of taking it away from the original source, but like link it, because that will also increase your EAT. Why we're talking even about scoring it. The reason is simple. If we know how good looks like, we can get to good because we can define the whole path, the road that leads us to something that is really amazing. We can build it, we can score it, and then we can repeat the process. So to give you an example how it looks like, I'll share with you my playbook of how I update the content. This is an example from Xero.com. They are ranking on position 6, I think, not 7, managing cash flow with really a poor page. Of course, the brand matters, so that's why they are so high. But if we only moved them by 2, 3 positions, that will mean a lot for them. They are ranking with 150 keywords for this specific page, traffic value around 1.5K. And if we just made it better, I assume that it would double or triple just by moving them by 2 positions here and there on like one of couple of these specific keywords. So first of all, what I do, I take the keyword, like so managing cash flow. I'm going to Google, I'm checking who's the competition. I'm going to every single competitor. I'm taking them out, like just basically scraping the data. I'm taking our article, I'm scraping the data of our article, and I'm starting to compare it to see what is good in my article, what is redundant, what should I add. On top of that, I'm checking exactly using critique stage. I'm checking what kind of data, what kind of additional data I can add to make additional value to the article. And basically, based on that, I'm rewriting the article. But that's not all. Like, I try to use something that I call cyborg method, because we, as humans, we have superpowers. Also, AI, from their side, they have superpowers. Let's combine them together. And based on that, we can create something really, really amazing. You, as humans, you have experience. AI doesn't. You talk to the product team, you talk to CEO, you talk to the customers. You've seen so many things that AI haven't. From AI's perspective, we can only use the things that we can scrape from internet, from our own page, or different things. So you have so much to add. So if you combine these 2, you can add a lot of value to the whole article. So when you have the article, when you edit it, and you spend some time on it, which you should do, you should evaluate it again. So you have the initial score that we scored in EAT. You have the after score in EAT, and you basically can predict which one is better. If you can see that it grew, that means it's going the right way. As you can see, like I'm scoring it on a radar graph just by looking at these 4 factors. And if you can do it in simple ChatGPT, in Claude, whatever you're using, you definitely will get actually a measurable answer. The cool part about this process, if you don't like the result and you don't think it's there yet, you can repeat it, make it better, and again and again. This is something that can go in a cycle. Best SEOs update their content multiple times per year. They actually divide their content into 3 groups. One group that they can look at every 2-3 months, the other one that they look at in every 6 months, and the third group that they look at 1 to 2 years. And this is what everybody should probably do. These are some proofs that it actually works. When you implement and when you update the content, you can work with it in a and you can grow the traffic far faster. And this is a bonus, like what I do. If you want to optimize it even further, you can make a workflow out of that. So you can basically start with evaluating the content. Again, you will get this on the presentation. You can get additional data, so you're pulling additional data from competitors, from your website, from additional sources about the data. You're re-evaluating the content again, so you're actually using a re-evaluation process that looks at it, says like, okay, I'm still missing this and that, I can optimize it even further. You can even use AI to define the images that you should add. So basically you can ask AI and define like, okay, these are the opportunities that I should add as images into my article. Looking at the data that we have, we need to visualize this and that, which will make it a lot better. And then, of course, implement it using with humans to make it even better. So what's next? Like, what do I see? At the moment, like from what I hear on conferences, Google is focusing on big brands. But if we can't build a big brand here and now, what can we do? Basically EAT. And I think this is the thing that we can impact the whole scoring of our articles. So Google will focus on ignoring content that has no trust signals. So all the things like data, proving our hypothesis, our opinions, and so on. AI overviews will cite only trusted clusters. And this is what they will focus on. Why? Because Google is a risk management tool. They don't want to risk showing something that doesn't answer the question. And reputation will be modeled and not estimated. So this is what I see. To end up my presentation, even a little bit faster, that's cool. This is my manifesto, like 7 points manifesto that I have about what I'm sharing with you. First of all, don't claim trust. Prove it. Show it to everybody that you can trust us by actually showing exactly the data that you based your opinions on and so on. Structure it, score it, and track it. Because like if you'll be able to score it, you'll be able to optimize your content. You will be able to also create new content the same way. It doesn't matter if you're updating or creating new. You have to know what's your goal. You have to know what you're aiming for, not to just feel it. I know that a lot of SEOs feel the content, but to be honest, it's better to score it, just like you do with optimizing for speed of the page. Both users and LLMs and Google, they can sniff out bullshit. If it sounds like bullshit, it's bullshit. If it sounds like keyword stuffing, it's keyword stuffing. Easy as that. So give value to the end user. This is the only way that you can work with SEO. So if you are still using these graders that I talked about keyword stuffing, I've tested it out. I even betted that they work, but with my test, they didn't. Real experience always win. Stop. This is exactly the whole thing. Like, people want to hear about your experience. Tough times we have right now, but really, experience is the thing that you want to share. If your content, ask yourself this question. If your content disappears tomorrow, will anybody care? If not, like just remove it. It makes no sense. So build content that gives value to the end user. Like only if you can share some value with the users, it makes sense. So that's why don't focus on only optimizing for ranking pages. Focus on being remembered. This is the way to go. Like that's why a lot of SEOs at the moment do struggle, because they want to understand what they're doing in a simplified way. So they want to have like, okay, so how many keywords do I have to put in? How many words do I have to write? These are not the questions that you should ask yourself. You should focus on the value. What is the value that I'm giving to the end user? And this is the last thing that I will say. Trust is earned. It's not assumed, and definitely it will not be generated. Thanks a lot, and if you have any questions, please let me know. Don't be afraid. Like if you ask a question in Spanish, I assume somebody will translate it. Yeah.
¿Alguna pregunta tenéis para Tom? Sí, ahí, espera, que te acerco el micro. Tom Winter.
Hello, Tom. I just wanted to ask you, in which range of scoring points are you talking of? Because you didn't. I really would like to make it, to go a bit deeper and talk about maybe a sector, or which is the number of scoring points that you really care. Maybe it's 100 scoring points, or just you go from 10 to whatever?
So basically what I do, you can hear me, right? I try to score every single factor on a scale of 1 to 10. So like altogether I'll have like 40 points. Like, but if I define every single factor, so if I create something that will define what for me is a 1, what is a 10, like it will be repetitive. I don't expect AI to be 100% accurate. For me, 80% is good because it drives me to the point that I want to go to. So it doesn't have to be accurate to one, like a single point. It's not the way that Google tracks it. For me, this is a leap of faith metric that shows me I'm going into the right direction. Of course, I would love to get information from Google Search Console, but if you're working on content, you have to wait for this 2 months. So we need some leap of faith metrics that will show us like if we're heading the right direction. That's why I like to score it this way, because I have a hypothesis. I see a correlation with Google Search Console in the future, and at least I'm going like in the right direction. Using only your intuition doesn't work. This is not something that is repeatable. This is not predictable.
So you don't change your scoring points.
No,
depending on the sector you're working
on. No, totally not. Like for me, EAT means like similar things. Like so, for me, it's data. It's showing value. It's showing opinions. Like based on like this is a simplified scoring table, but you can actually define it a lot better, like in a larger scale.
Bueno, muy bien. Fuerte el aplauso, por favor.
Gracias.